Hey guys, I'm Steph.
And I'm Richard. Question, I recently watched one of your videos about being gay or transgender in Korea. You both obviously felt very empathetic and disheartened about such unacceptance. I was wondering, how do you navigate balance having such strong feelings while trying to assimilate into another culture? I am trans, but I also study Chinese culture and learn Mandarin. But I have a hard time wondering about how to approach such ignorance and wondering if I would be okay living, working in China. First thing I want to say is this question came in as a private message and I responded by asking their permission to make a video about it, and they said yes and would be very thankful, so that's what we're doing. Now, neither of us have lived in China.
We've barely been in China.
We have been to China though, but I just want to qualify that. But there are some similarities in terms of this particular theme between China and Korea.
Perhaps. I don't know. I haven't been to China, so I can't really talk about China and perceptions that they would have.
We can talk about Korea in this area though, right?
Yes, we can.
All right, so let's do it. You were just reading something on the web. What were you reading?
I was reading about Hallyu because I was trying to look up a little bit more information on being transgendered in Korea.
Hwasung is who?
Hwasung is a transgender woman. She was born a man but had a sex change operation and became the second person in 2002 to actually change their legal status from man to woman.
In Korea.
In Korea.
And she is a celebrity too.
She's a famous entertainer, and she's helped the trans cause immensely in Korea. Reading an article about her, she was saying that before she was able to change her status to female, her gender to female on her ID card, she actually was afraid to go to the bank. It was hard for her to go and do anything that she needed to show her ID for, because if you haven't been to Korea, everybody has an ID. One of the numbers, it's like a 1 if you're a man and a 2 if you're a woman. Here's this beautiful woman who looks like a model who comes in and shows her ID card and it says she's a man.
That would be a big problem here indeed. Everybody looks at that number and knows instantly when they show their ID.
It'd be a huge problem.
The younger generation, which we talk a lot about the younger generation being different and leading this change in Korea, would be, I would say, more indifferent to this theme than they would be curious about it. And the only group of people in Korea that would be interested in knowing more information or in promoting the rights of this particular theme would be the people who are trans or gay in Korea, which are about 10% for gay, more or less. And then trans, I don't know, I suppose that's a small group. But where are they? They're not allowed to really speak out. I wouldn't say they're not allowed to speak out, it's uncomfortable to.
Put it like this. I think that they exist. I think not only do they exist, but I think that there's a lot of trans people. I think that my hairdresser is actually trans. But
I was gonna mention that, yeah. There's a person who opened up a shop recently in our neighborhood who we go and get our hair cut at now because they do a really good job. It's a woman. I love how she cuts my hair because she cuts it efficiently but she doesn't rush. And I love that. And it's really inexpensive too. She's like the best thing that's opened up in our neighborhood recently that we love to go to, and we're both curious and pretty sure that she's trans.
Pretty sure. You can never be 100% certain.
And it's something that we would never talk about with her. In my mind, I create this sort of story of what her life might have been like before she opened up the shop here. At one point in her life, she was a man. Things were probably tumultuous in some ways for her. Maybe just internally. She went and changed her life, and then she's just popped up in this neighborhood where nobody knows her, opened up a little shop that's, you know, it's just a little cheap place, but she has a talent.
I think there's a lot of trans people in Korea that you don't necessarily notice unless you actually take the time to study them, that they are trans. And for me, I think in some cases, being transsexual is more acceptable than being gay.
Here.
Why
do you say that?
Because Hwasung actually got to marry her longtime boyfriend.
When she got the sex change and everything complete and the status changed, then she was very easily able to
legally marry.
Versus gay people getting able to legally marry here, not accepted.
It's not happening.
It's an interesting proposition.
And the other thing is they can go back now, and once they legally change their gender, I think they have to have the sex change operation, and they have to be over the age of 20, and they can't have any kids, and they can't have formally been married. But I think that once they do all of that, they can actually change all their previous records too, so that they can actually wholly transform themselves and be the person that they always wanted to be.
This person wanted to know how we deal with the ignorance. I think the way that I do or we do is that we don't necessarily talk about the subject much with Korean people, but we talk about it a lot. Not necessarily this, but we talk about anything we want to with each other. And then when we go out into public and we're hanging out with Koreans or friends or whatever, we just don't talk about the sticky situation topics.
I think the other thing along those lines is we just treat everybody generally the same. If we do encounter somebody who is trans, or we do have a friend who is gay or lesbian, we just treat them as human beings because that's what they are.
Another thing about this place is people do in fact leave you alone, even though they might stare at you. You get the stares, but you don't get people confronting you about anything really.
No, you don't.
I think the best advice I could give for someone coming here who is trans or who wonders how they're going to be able to deal with a closed-minded society is to just not talk about it in most cases, unless you know that the person you're going to talk about it with is a trusted friend or is somebody who's close to you.
And is open about it. For example, we have friends who are gay.
Korean friends.
Korean friends who are
Right.
gay, Korean friends who are lesbians. When we go and talk to them, we only discuss those topics when it's one-on-one situation or just us and just them, and they bring it up and they want to talk about it.
In particular, with one of our friends, we knew they were gay early on. It took that person about 2 years to finally come out and say that they were to me first. And then, of course, I asked if it was okay to share that with you. That person said yes. But they did it on their own. And then after that, that is one of the topics we talk about. Probably because that person doesn't have a lot of people to talk about it with. You asked about China and we're talking about Korea, but another thing I think is interesting is yesterday, funny enough that we're doing this topic because I was watching Rachel and June on YouTube. Now they're YouTubers in Japan. The husband's a Japanese guy and the wife is an American girl, I think. If you're watching this, then you might be familiar with their videos too. They uploaded one recently about LGBT in Japan. It was so fascinating. I'm gonna put a link down in the description to that video. I say definitely check that out. They polled a bunch of Japanese people. A couple people wrote right away. Let's just be clear. Historically, Japan has had a history of famous people being gay, like military generals, and having boyfriends out in the open, and this was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I thought, wow, that's amazing, only because I was comparing it immediately to Korea, and I don't think Korea would ever admit to such a thing.
Yeah, they don't really admit to it, though it did happen. Speaking of other countries, you talked about Japan. I can't tell you about China, but I have heard, because I have had former Taiwanese students and former students who went and studied abroad in Taiwan, it's a lot more acceptable there in Taiwan than it is in Korea. So that's it for today's Life in Korea.
Thanks for your question. Yeah, if you have a question, even one that you don't want to reveal your identity, you can send us a private message. You can also drop a note in the comment section right down here on the YouTube comments. Also on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hallyu Back, and we have a blog, HallyuBack.com. There's a comment section there too. We check them all. Leave us a question and maybe we'll answer it in one of these like-its.
And like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for Asian drama and life in Korea videos.
That's it for today's Life in Korea. Experience it!
I feel like I'm totally Avengers today because they're filming the Avengers in Seoul this month, so it's like Avengers! And then I got my Captain America hat.
That's what that is.
Actually, no, but I just like, I dig it.